off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate, to live, love, laugh, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Fett on ubnradio.com.
And welcome. You are tuned in to my weekly talk radio show called Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, a show about hope and happiness, so there's no gossip, no scandal, and no K-words, no Kardashian talk at all. Instead, we encourage you to focus on your own reality show and how you can be happy 88% of the time. And it is the beginning of the 19th annual season for nonviolence. Yesterday was Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and in order to celebrate that this month, and this whole season, we have amazing guests. February 2nd, we're going to actually have a powerful panel of guests coming on the show. We have Neil Donald Walsh, best-selling author of Conversations with God, as well as Dr. Michael Bernard Beckwith, founder of Agape International Spiritual Center, one of the fabulous favorite teachers on The Secret and My Big Brother, and then another past guest, Bishop Carlton Pearson, who will, the three of them, it will be an amazing show. So please do put in your calendars February the 2nd. Also, a peace shout out today to all of the fabulous security, the beautiful women and the men at Sunset Gower Studios, where I broadcast out of. And today there was actually scandal shooting right before I got in. But as you know, there is no scandal here, because I do want to talk about those things that work, those things that are good, those things that are best case scenario in life. And today's guest is absolutely not an oh boy, I just tongue-tied myself, is not a, what's the word I'm looking for? Romina, help me. If you just noticed, Romina Mina is my staff interpreter, making this a Radio for Our Deaf series special as well. So thank you for that. And thank you to all the listeners who continue to make this show really, really, really popular. My YouTube views are now over 41,000. Thank you so much. I have over hundreds of thousands of listeners worldwide in over 100 countries. So thank you as well. I think that deserves a little bit of applause. And all of that, I remembered the word. My guest today is no exception. He joins the ranks of many, many guests that I've had who've taken something in life that is not exactly something they had planned for, but instead of taking it and going away into the night, they have taken the condition that they have and made it a point of being a beneficial presence on the planet. Greg O'Brien is an award-winning journalist diagnosed with younger onset Alzheimer's disease in 2009 at the age of 59. With more than 35 years of experience as a writer, editor, investigative reporter, and publisher, his work has appeared in the Associated Press, Huffington Post, Psychology Today, Reader's Digest, US Today, and Boston Magazine, where he was a senior writer, among other publications. Greg has spoken across the country about his experience living with Alzheimer's disease, has been featured in a documentary film, Living with Alzheimer's, A Place Called Pluto. If you haven't seen it from my Facebook post, please do watch it. It is so powerful and so beautiful, and I dare you not to cry. He's been on NBC News and National Public Radio. He's currently contributing a regular column to the Huffington Post and Psychology Today. Greg is the editor, author of several books, including On Pluto, Inside the Mind of Alzheimer's. Simply put, this man gives hope to those who are lost and a voice to those who cannot speak. Please welcome to my studio the inspirational and fabulous and honored to be on my show, Greg O'Brien. Welcome, Greg. And we've had a couple of challenges, but so worth having you on here. And I'm so honored too. You were just interviewed by Maria Shriver last year, and now you get to come on the show with the Asian Oprah, who usually asks her famous guests one question to start with. I have a friend who has not an answering machine, but a questioning machine. And when you call her, it says, "Who are you and what do you want?" So, Greg O'Brien, who are you and what do you want?
Well, I'm Greg O'Brien. Every day I try to figure out who I am with the new me. Alzheimer's is a slow progression of a disease. And you have to walk, I believe, in faith, hope, and humor. I did a little of that when I first met you before the show, because you said that you were having a deaf translator, and I misheard, and I thought you said DEATH, and that you knew something that I didn't know, and so I'm honored to see that it's this wonderful woman who is translating. So, but
Yes.
but but you by way of background, my maternal grandfather and my mother died of Alzheimer's. My paternal uncle died several months ago. Before my father died, he was diagnosed with dementia. Several years ago, I began the horrific symptoms of short-term memory loss, not knowing where I was and who I was, um, and then I had a serious head injury, which doctor said unmasked the disease in the making. And I had the brain scan, the SPECT scan, and the clinical tests that confirmed the diagnosis. And I also carry the Alzheimer's marker gene APOE4, and people can look that up and research it and learn about it.
That was in 2009. So try to take me back to that time to help people. The beautiful thing that you're doing is really helping people understand this disease, because it's, I think, 44 million in the world who have it, and it's one thing to hear about it, and I don't know anybody who doesn't know someone who's been touched by it. It's like Parkinson. My mom has Parkinson's, and it's one thing to sort of hear about it, but to actually understand from someone who has gone through that. Take me back to 2009. What kinds of things were happening that made you realize there was something off?
Well, I had a front row seat with my mother and my maternal grandfather, so I got to see firsthand the symptoms and recognize them. They were horrifying for me, and there was a time where I was in denial, and there's a chapter in my book which is a quote: "Denial ain't just a river in Egypt," Mark Twain. And, we all live in that wonderful world. But when it got to the point where it was affecting my day to day life, I had to reach out. And that's when I got the clinical test and the brain scans. And it's a slow progression, and maybe, which is helpful for your viewers. Everyone thinks of Alzheimer's as the end stage, okay? Where you're in a hospital, nursing home, and you're almost comatose. And that's a journey in Alzheimer's. And you could go online. I'm actively involved with the Alzheimer's Association, working on a national advisory board on early onset Alzheimer's with the Cure Alzheimer's Fund in Boston, Us Against Alzheimer's in Washington, D.C. And all of the experts, the doctors, will tell you that this is a disease that can take 20, 25 years to run its course. It's like watching paint dry. And there are no two examples. Generally, it's like snowflakes of Alzheimer's that are the same, which makes it difficult. Sure, the disease can take you out quicker, as cancer can, and I also have cancer, and I'm not fighting it. I have prostate cancer, but it's my exit strategy, and it's just every day when you wake up, you're not quite sure who's going to show up. And so you have to, this to me, and I'm honored by the focus of your show, is a faith journey for me. I'm probably one of the most imperfect human beings you'll you'll ever meet. But there's that old saying, let go and let God.
Mm.
And I had the WTF, and you guys can
Yes.
figure out what
Yes.
that means.
Yes.
Talk with God the other day.
Yeah, you
I'm
did.
curious on how she does that with the hand signal. All right, and
Let's do
it was
that
saying
slow.
to the
Do
Lord,
WTF.
it
Oh, she
is
actually spells the letters WTF.
okay,
Yeah.
good. Well, I want to get the
There's a
audience smiling, so
you definitely have us smiling.
they're
And let me just take a station identification in
go
case
ahead.
those people are wondering who this really funny and poignant person that I get to speak to on today's show is Greg O'Brien, who's an award-winning journalist who has developed early onset Alzheimer's, and you are tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm Not Using It, Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa every Tuesday at noon on Universal Broadcasting Network from the Sunset Gower Studios, and then syndicated on my CNBC News Radio channel KCAA AM 1050 and FM 106.5 on Thursdays at 7 and Saturdays. So you can hear the entire show if you've just tuned in. But Greg O'Brien is talking about and this is the juicy part that I really want to know, because for you to have this disease, and then you just said that you have prostate cancer, which is your exit strategy, how can you have faith? How can you believe that that you that it's good? Like, how can you, like in your little documentary that made me cry, you're going out on the water, you love the water, and sometimes you think, maybe I'll just go out and not come back. And how do you not say WTF? How do you stay positive? How do you stay in that hope?
Well, I believe God has a sense of humor, and God is the essence of love. So I had the WTF talk with the Lord the other day, and started out in my usual Irish arrogance. Lord, do you know who I am? And 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 I believe God has a sense of humor and will reach you at any level. And also I believe God knows no gender. So God is God.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard the Lord say, "Yeah, dumbass, I made you. I know who you are, and I have you right where I want you." And stuff like that keeps me going.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I am with him in that. I wouldn't call you a dumb
Well,
A.
I think
I
it's
think
grounded.
you're more of a smart A than a dumb A to me. Anyways, from the little that I've gotten to know you, but I do believe that when you do transition, you're going to see my dad, who left because of lymphoma in 2000, and I believe that you are the quintessential example of why you're here on the planet, because you are taking what has happened to you and bringing so much hope and so much inspiration and so much education and so much benefit to those of us who don't know. And that's why you're here. This is not the end game. I really believe this is not the end game. And
Well,
I
you
go ahead.
no, you try to get up every day and do it better. And I find in Alzheimer's and looking at cancer, I also have spinal stenosis, scoliosis, and degeneration of my spine. And I still go to the gym every day because I have this saying. And again, I'm going to curious how the woman handles it with the interpretation. But I'll just give you the paraphrase: "These demons don't know who they're screwing with," and
Mm,
and it's just pressing on because I believe there's something bigger out there and
yeah.
bigger for me. And shame on me if I it, it it's and feel free to interrupt. I sometimes, doctor, I have to keep talking because I have a thought in my head and then it's gone.
Oh,
I mean, a good
well,
example.
I don't have Alzheimer's, and that just happened to me at the beginning of the show. So you have a
Okay.
good reason for it. I don't. So please take your time. Do whatever that. I'm just so grateful to have you here talking to me. So
Um, my book on Pluto, Inside the Mind of Alzheimer's, and maybe the best place to get it is Amazon, although it's available in bookstores around the country and Barnes and Noble and others. But it's a book about living with this disease, not dying with it. The great Bugs Bunny once said, "Don't take life too seriously because nobody gets out alive." And when I got my diagnosis, what I did was immediately take close to 2,000 pages of notes of everything I didn't want to forget.
Wow.
And also chronicling my mother's disease. I was the family caregiver on Cape Cod. So she was at one end and I was at the other end. And
Did
we were
she
on
know?
parallel tracks. Yeah. Well, we took our Aricept together at times, which
Oh,
is
wow.
some of the medication that I'm on the legal limits for the strength of medications that hopefully slow a progression, but there is no cure. But today, Doctor, 60% of my short-term memory at times, not all the time, can be gone in 30 seconds.
Wow.
I
Well-
don't recognize people, including my wife on several occasions that I've known all my life. Very regularly, people now are coming up and reintroducing themselves to me because I don't know who they are. A small example, I was on Nantucket, the island off Cape Cod, Friday, and I do some work consulting for Nantucket Cottage Hospital, which is a wonderful hospital. Well, one of the hospital administrators that I know very well saw me on the boat and came up and talked. I didn't know who he was. And this happens to me all the time. But I knew I should know that it was important. And so I stayed and talked with him for 15 minutes and kept asking him questions until he'd said something about the hospital. And then it was like a curtain over my eyes. My eyes opened up and I realized that was it. That's who he was. And that's what happens in Alzheimer's. I know out west there are probably not a lot of basements, but people have basements back here. And I say that, ask people, it's akin to being in the basement doing your laundry at night when someone upstairs in the kitchen doesn't know you're there and turns the light off. When that happens, I drop F-bombs. People yell and scream, and that's part of the rage. I go into tremendous rage now, and
that's tough.
And there times also I see things that aren't there. They're hallucinations, and you shout and you scream just to try to turn that light back on. And it's the process is it flickers and like a plug in a socket that's loose. But at some point the light goes dead, and it goes dead forever, and it's dark, and that day comes. And so you walk in faith, hope, and humor. Remember what Bugs Bunny said.
Yeah. Your analogies are particularly helpful. I know to me and to my listeners and anyone who is trying to understand or living with someone who is going through the disease. And I'm going to have a follow-up show. I don't know if Kara told you, with your permission, I'd like to have your family on, because
Sure.
it's difficult for you. I can't even imagine what it's like for your family. How do they stay hopeful? How do they, I mean, one, obviously when you go into these rages, it must be painful. It must be, you can't take it personally. I mean, when you forget people, I can't take it personally if you don't know who I am. I mean, how is it best for people to support you in what you're going through and what the family's going through?
Well, I appreciate that question. The bigger answer I would like to give is how you support people in Alzheimer's. I'm just one of several million. And I had the God-given blessing of being a communicator early on.
No mistake, no accident, no mistake.
and so it I'm not stupid. I just have a disease. So what I'm trying to do while I can is focus on the communication of it, which doctors say I'm working off what they call a cognitive reserve, which is a backup of inherited intellect.
Wow.
And it's like a fuel tank. But my mother was like, I'm on the same path as my mom, but the lights keep going out, Marissa. And a couple of weeks ago, I don't sleep well at night. I got up, went to the bathroom, used my iPhone as the flashlight, as we all do,
Uh-huh.
and in the bathroom, in the moment, I didn't know where I was and who I was, and so I called the house to wake my wife up to ask where I was, and she was 20 feet away in the
Wow.
bed.
Wow.
And that's what it is it's a complicated disease. And I cut up a frog in high school, so that's all I know about medicine. But there, I would urge people to try to put stereotypes of this disease behind them.
Mhm.
Understand that to some extent it may be the progression like watching paint dry, but the paint surely dries and the grass surely grows, even though sometimes you can't see it. And there are millions of people out there like me. I was saying this to someone the other day. I could fill
Oh,
with
we're
people that
losing.
I know, a whole room of people who are at my stage living with it, who can communicate, but there are other things that they can't do because the lights keep going out.
Mm.
And we need to take this disease seriously in the early stages. And I'm hoping that's one of the byproduct of this, of on Pluto and other efforts that are out there.
Absolutely. If you have not read this book, it is a must read, On Pluto, Inside the Mind of Alzheimer's. And I've been blessed to give a copy away as an Asian Oprah giveaway at the end of the show. I'm not up to cars yet, but we do get to give out really good books. So stay
Well,
tuned
call
to
me
the
when
end of
you
the
are,
show.
okay?
Okay, I will definitely. I know I was hoping to win that lotto
I'll
last
probably
week.
have to have I'll
Yeah,
have to have my son type it, but you can call me.
absolutely. Absolutely. So, okay, so big bomb question. Are you afraid of the end? Are you afraid of, because I went to your NPR channel, which is another fabulous resource. Please go just put search in Greg O'Brien NPR. He's got a fabulous series there on different topics. And I noticed last week that you put on there preparing for death, as Bugs Bunny says. So, what are your thoughts around that?
Well, I think death is the natural progression. You know,
Hmm.
it's not the end. It's really the beginning of what was meant to be from the start.
True.
And so I don't fear it. I really don't. And I again I have a strong faith, and you know was I, my trying to find the right words. I don't want to proselytize here because people find their own faith. It's not up to me to define someone's faith,
Hmm.
but I am just fully convinced that there's an all-loving God. And I know people define God in different ways and different genders and all that, and that's not my place to get in the middle of that either.
Right.
My place, I feel, is to say from my heart, I am fully convinced that God exists,
Hmm.
and God is love. And and so it what happens in Alzheimer's, which I write about, talk about the journey from the mind to the heart.
Mm.
And I think it's a natural progression for people who are listening. And my guess is a number of deaf people who are listening know exactly what I'm talking about because
Mm.
they've had to go beyond the normal routine in ways to communicate. And and so is memory all that it's cracked up to be? Uh, you know, how big was that fish someone caught? How long was that home run? We remember what
Yeah.
was that prom dress, that all that pretty. We remember what we want to, but I believe there's a natural journey that the heart is the place of the soul.
Mm. Beautiful.
We're
Beautiful.
either a speck of sand. We're either a speck of sand, or we are a soul. And guess what? We're all going to find that out.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm on the soul search, and because that's the essence of who we are. And so what I've tried, and I've talked to a lot of other people about it, and it's a journey others have been on, where I've learned to speak and write from my heart.
Mm.
And that's what keeps me going. I don't, my mind used to be my best friend, but not so much anymore.
Yeah.
And so I learned to write and speak
Well,
from the heart.
you definitely are a beautiful soul. And even though you're a smarty at times, you definitely are someone who
Smart.
inspires me. I can't imagine waking up and finding out that something that you were an award-winning journalist. Your mind, like you said, was your best friend. You write in a way that captures, but it is that gift that is now applied to something to help us understand what's going on inside of your mind. That is precious. And for those of you who are a little bit peeved at me right now that the sound every once in a while goes out on the Skype, this was purposeful. I had a choice of either having him on the phone or having him on Skype. So please forgive the little momentary. I'm listening carefully, making sure that we're getting 98% of the gist of what he's saying, because it is important. But it was a choice to put you on camera because I think this is a fabulous opportunity for people who are suffering or finding out they have the disease or someone close to them has the disease, that it is not hopeless, that there are that even though, and that was my first reaction about the disease, because they say when your house is on fire, what's the first thing that you do? Is most people would say, well, they grab their photo albums. That's before the days of Memory 6. And because they want to keep the memories, that's the most precious thing in their life. And how do you deal with a disease that takes away that critical part of what is life? And you answered that question just now, before I could ask it, because life is still meaningful. Life is in the moment of the heart, in that day-to-day, one moment at a time breath of what is life. Like this right now, my chance to talk to you across the country, finding out how you're feeling about your life and about the way you are dealing with disease, that is the most important heart moment of my life. And I'm grateful for that.
Well, thank you. But it is that journey that I believe it's the journey from the cradle to the grave, and finding that place of the heart. And I believe that's who we really are. So Alzheimer's can't rob my soul.
Yeah.
It can destroy my brain and my memory, but it can't rob my soul, the essence of who I am. And I had that discussion with my mother. She was very upset and she was crying toward the end. And I sat her down and I pointed to her heart and I said, remember that little girl, Virginia Brown, that was her maiden name, who grew up in Manhattan on the Upper East Side and went to a convent school and then college and had 10 children.
10 children.
And raised 10 loving children. That little girl is still there. My mother had 10 children. That little girl is still there. She's right in your heart. She hasn't left you. And my mom looked at me, and sometimes she had trouble with words, but she said, "Really?" And I said, "Yeah." And then she started crying and gave me a big hug. I said, "Mom, this disease has not robbed you of that little girl." And so it was interesting. My mother and I had an up and down relationship. I think I probably reminded her of my father, so she took some things out on me rather than my dad. But Alzheimer's brought us together, and my mother became the hero of my life. And another thing suggests that people who are listening, 2/3 or close to that of individuals who have Alzheimer's are women.
Mhm.
And this
I
is
didn't know
now,
that.
of course, women do live longer, but they're doing studies now that indicate certain things inside the brain that could be happening to cause that. And I cut up a frog in high school, so I'm not qualified. But there's a woman who's a good friend of mine. She was the producer of the film Still Alice,
Oh,
Elizabeth Gelfand Stearns, and she has started something called the Judy Fund with the Alzheimer's Association. So I would encourage anyone to who's listening to call up the Judy Fund, Elizabeth Gelfand Stearns, and learn about how this disease is affecting women.
that's
Lisa
great.
Genova, I think, who you know, who wrote the foreword to my book, she wrote the book Still Alice,
Wow. That's so
and
weird because I was going to ask you about that movie, if you'd seen it, what you thought about it. And then, of course, you raised it without me asking you. So you're a mind reader um, of at least my mind. I don't know what that says. But so it is a pretty real depiction of what someone from Alzheimer's goes through.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And,
she did an extraordinary job on it.
yes, she did.
Another thing that I would urge people to listen to, two good friends of mine, where they become good friends, producers, directors, Trevor Albert and James Quiche. Trevor did Groundhog Day, Multiplicity. James Quiche did Walk the Line. They produced the Glenn Campbell film I'll Be Me.
Mm,
And after the film was produced, it seminars and speaking engagements, I got to know them. We become good friends. I've got to know Glenn Campbell's wife, Kim, and her beautiful family. And I would urge
right.
anyone, it plays, that film plays on CNN, but I'm sure you can go online and get it too.
With the name of it again?
Glenn Campbell, I'll Be Me.
I'll be
And,
okay.
and in it, Glenn is probably 12 years older than me and obviously more advanced. But he was a he was a country hero of
He
mine
was a, I'm
growing up,
sorry, we
and
lost that.
so it's
What was
ironic
he?
that we. Correct.
We lost that, not because of Alzheimer's, but because of our Skype connection to Massachusetts. Say that Glenn Campbell was a,
He was a hero of mine, and I loved his music and listened to it all the time when I would drive cross country. So it's ironic that I have this connection, but in it, he again, he's in a tougher place now. But
yeah,
you would see when he got up on stage, just like it is with me with writing, you go to that place of the soul, the muscle memory, and anyone who sees the film will say, "How did he do that?"
how does he do that?
I believe he did that through his soul. He got up, grabbed his guitar, and just said, "I'm not going to let this disease take me down." And he
Mm,
sung his heart out. And so much respect for the Campbell family.
yeah, that's great, beautiful. So watch the movie, the Glenn. So your homework, listeners, you have like homework,
Yeah.
but this is pleasant homework. Well, not pleasant, but important homework. Reading the book on Pluto, and watching the documentary if you haven't seen it, and going to Still Alice, Judy, what's her name?
Oh,
Sorry, I
Judy
forgot.
Gelfand Stearns.
Okay.
She's the producer of the
Still
film
Alice,
Still Alice, but she's also head of the Judy Fund,
the Judy Fund.
and
That's what I heard.
Judy with the
JUDY.
Alzheimer's Association, and you could learn an awful lot about how this disease affects women.
Yeah. Yeah. Great. And I've run over, but it is time to thank our sponsors. We'll be right back. If you'd like to partner with me to help bring these kinds of shows to the world, then please do contact me at forbalance.org. But we'll take a break now. Peace in and peace out. We'll be back after a word from the sponsors. If you think you don't have the money to start your own business, then I have fantastic news. Now you can own a business that has proven to be a phenomenal success all around the country with very little upfront investment. We're talking the Selfie Station. Selfie Station is a portable touchscreen photo booth that people and businesses book for weddings, corporate functions, trade shows, proms, promotional events, parties, and more. Selfie Station captures lifelong memories that can be emailed, texted, printed, personalized, and even uploaded to social media. You won't believe how much people will pay you to make your business the life of their party. It's the easiest income you'll ever earn and pays for itself in no time at all. You can start your own business right now. Let Selfie Station be the picture taker, icebreaker, and your moneymaker. Now, as a special introductory offer, you get $500 off the professional package. That's right, $500 off. SelfieStationPodcast.com. Type in the name of my show, Dr. Marissa, so I can get credit, please. Thank you. SelfieStationPodcast.com. That's SelfieStationPodcast.com. And get ready to make money today.
No way! I'm so cool. I'm so hot. I'm so hungry. I'm so full.
Did that complaining sound familiar to you? Hi, I'm Dr. Marissa, your cheerleader for hope and happiness 88% of the time. And they also call me the Asian Oprah. Well, I have a perfect app for you if you want to lose negative weight and stop complaining. Yes, the 21-day Fast from Complaining with Dr. Marissa app is now available. Every day you'll get a balanced tip that keeps you from complaining, as well as some sound effects. If you do complain and you press a button, it will give you a sound to keep you from complaining. And if you make it the entire day without complaining, you'll get a nice warm hug. And there's a YouTube link also to help you not complain. And then at the end of the 21 days, because it takes 21 days to create a good habit, you'll get an overall score as well as a way to post your triumph with your friends and family on Facebook. So don't complain, have fun, and remember it's all about balance. Peace in and peace out.
Peace in, peace out.
And welcome back. You are tuned into my weekly talk radio show, Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa every Tuesday at naturally high noon out of the Sunset Gower Studios Universal Broadcasting Network, as Friday as well. And then on Thursday evening at 7 and Saturday at 11 on my syndicated CNBC News Radio channel, AM 1050 KCAA, and also now FM 106.5 and 106.3. So you can get me 4 times a week for this show about hope and happiness. And I'm very blessed to have today on the air with me award-winning journalist Greg O'Brien, who is illuminating and inspiring us with information from the inside the mind of an Alzheimer's. And Greg, I would like to take a little time to capture some memories that you have about people that are important in your life. And so I'm going to start with your wife, and I want you to give me the best memory, the favorite memory that you have of your wife, Mary. I think it's Mary Catherine.
I would say that was probably on Martha's Vineyard 30 some odd years ago when she said yes when I asked her to marry me.
Did you know she was going to say yes?
I was hoping, I didn't have a fallback, so.
Beautiful. And your children, you have 3 of them, Brendan, Colleen, and Connor. So let's start with Brendan. What's your favorite memory of Brendan? Did I lose you?
Brendan, Brendan is a writer producer in Boston, and I think some of my favorite memories when he was a young boy taking him to his first Boston Red Sox game at Fenway Park, and then my daughter Colleen, who teaches inner city kids in Baltimore. My favorite memory with Colleen, I think, is the day that I brought home a yellow golden retriever. And gave her the dog, and that's become part of the family. And it's a little sad now because I was telling you early on that our dog Sox, named after the Boston Red Sox, is pretty much on the 17th hole of her life. So, and then Connor, I think my favorite memories with Connor is he's kind of my day-to-day caregiver and the times that we get to spend every day. And he has done interviews with me. He's also was featured. Runner's World asked me to write a major piece in the January-February edition about how it's about the strategies of Alzheimer's, how exercise keeps the demons at bay. And there's a wonderful photo of Connor in that. It's on the newsstand. It's a 6-page spread. It's the January-February issue of Runner's World. It's also online. You could Google Runner's World online, Greg O'Brien and Alzheimer's, and find it.
That's beautiful. And I know I actually share one thing in common with you. You love the water. And I know that you go out there. I actually race sailboats for the last 20 some odd years. I started when I was 2. And so we share that part. And my name means of the water. So maybe if I'm on that coast, or if you're ever in California, I'll take you out on a Catalina 37. How does that sound?
That'll be great.
That is
I come to California to speak every once in a while.
Oh, wonderful.
So I'll be out west in February and March. So
okay. Well, I definitely will bring you here to the studio then. Absolutely. And we'll fix all those Skype bugs.
okay.
But we are almost out of time. And I just wanted to say, I wanted to present you with the Dr. Marissa Beneficial Presence on the Planet Award for the work that you do, and for the life that you lead, and for the words that come from your heart, and all that you have done to inspire me and my listeners. I am so grateful. So thank you. You are truly a success, in the words or the definition that I use most often, which is Emerson's words of to know that you've made one life breathe easier because you have lived. That is success. Thank you for being our success.
I'm imperfect, but I keep trying. So how's that?
You're trying. You're not trying at all. You are succeeding. Thank you so much, Greg O'Brien, for your appearance on Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa. All right, and we are at the end of the show, The Balance.
Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pei.
And we're back, and I'm so delighted. The Great Barrier Reef is a place that I've gotten to go and scuba dive. And so my very special guests today are going to be talking about that. It's alive and thriving as one of the 7 natural wonders of the world. Joining me today are 2 experts to share details about a global initiative to recognize this amazing treasure with a Lifetime Achievement Award. Natalie Smith is a senior marine biologist and master reef guide with GBR Biology. And Mark Olsen is a Great Barrier Reef advocate and CEO of Tourism Tropical North Queensland. Please welcome to the studio, Natalie and Mark. And let's see. Hold on one second. Here we go. Fantastic. I'm just so delighted that you're here with me today. Mr. Olsen, please tell me about the efforts to honor the Great Barrier Reef. Well deserved, by the way.
Oh, absolutely well deserved. Dr. Marissa, I don't need to convince you of how precious the Great Barrier Reef is. You've been lucky to see it firsthand, but it's inspired the lives of hundreds of millions of people around the world who have seen it on screen, who have been lucky enough to see it in person. It was the first marine park to get a World Heritage listing. It's on a lot of people's bucket list, but we reckon it deserves just one more recognition. We need to recognize that the Great Barrier Reef is more than just a place on a map. It's a teacher, it's a provider, it's an inspiration. And we reckon, just like David Attenborough, it deserves to win the United Nations Environment Programme's Lifetime Achievement Award. It's given to an individual that has a significant impact on the planet, and we can't think of anyone more deserving than the world's largest living entity. The impact that it's had over 9,000 years, including the impact on our First Nations people, their stories, their songs, and their culture. And we reckon it deserves to be recognised. And we want to think differently about how our natural places are acknowledged in the world, not just as places to give names to, but as friends, as colleagues, and as part of this global movement that we're creating to give the Great Barrier Reef a Lifetime Achievement Award.
Absolutely. And of all the places I've been scuba diving, and I've hit pretty much all the Jacques Cousteau list, I will say that it is the #1 place to scuba dive. So there you go.
Yeah.
Ms.
Thank
Smith,
you.
why is it important to recognize the Great Barrier Reef?
Absolutely. As Mark just said, it is the largest living entity. It supports so much life, over 9,000 different species in its 1,400 mile length. It's so much life in a small area. They're one of the most biodiverse ecosystems on the planet. It's incredibly one of the natural treasures of the world. It is the beating heart of the ocean. But like Mark said, it is so much more than that. It is a teacher, it is a mentor, it's a provider. It's inspiring to those who witness it, as you have seen yourself. And that's why I've dedicated my career to telling that story that is the Great Barrier Reef and raising that awareness for its protection.
Fantastic. Yeah, I've heard that I was very fortunate to go when I did. I think it was like 8 or 9 years ago. Tell me about some of the challenges that are facing the Great Barrier Reef, because I was told it's changed.
Yeah, absolutely. So climate change is the greatest threat to the Great Barrier Reef, and we do see that through increased disturbances like heat stress, which can lead to coral bleaching, from weather events like tropical cyclones, so similar to hurricanes, which can cause destruction, and flood plumes on the reef. Increased numbers in predators like the crown of thorns starfish or dropeller snails. That is what's happening with climate change. But the really cool thing about the reef is it is naturally resilient, and it does bounce back very well on its own. And the cool thing about tourism is being able to have marine biologists like myself out on the reef every day, and we're able to monitor the reef. We know our site like the back of our hands. We know when something's out of place there, and we're able to report that back to the government. And the beauty of all of that is we're able to educate guests at the same time, and they're able to witness the beauty that is the Great Barrier Reef while understanding it. And when people understand something, they love it. And when people love something, they want to protect it. And that's what we want. Tourism is at the forefront of 21st century conservation, and we're educating guests and we're building that connection, and once they leave, they're going to want to do their little part at home to help protect it.
Fantastic. Mark, tell me how does an initiative like this help preserve this national treasure?
Yeah, Dr. Marissa, it's so important that those people who are out there listening to the show today who are wondering, what can I do on World Earth Day, in World Earth Month? What can I do to address climate change? A really easy first step is go to our website, alifetimeofgreatness.com, and join the global movement to have the Great Barrier Reef recognised as the first non-human to win a Lifetime Achievement Award. And let's start changing the narrative about how we think about ecosystems and the role they play in our lives. Let's use people power to create that moment. And through that process, we're going to inspire the next generation of incredible marine biologists like Natalie, the next generation of scientists who want to be involved in tackling the big challenges that our globe faces. And I can guarantee you that if you've been to the Great Barrier Reef, as you have, Dr. Marissa, you're going to be inspired to take action. So the Lifetime of Greatness project is all about bringing the scientific, tourism, education community and the global community who support coral reefs to get this world first in place, get a Great Barrier Reef award for a lifetime achievement by the United Nations Environment Program. But it's going to take people power. We're going to need your listeners to jump on to alifetimeofgreatness.com and add their support to the growing global movement to see the Great Barrier Reef for its contribution to our lives, a lifetime that deserves to be recognised.
Absolutely. And how do people get involved in this project? I just pulled up the website actually, so people can actually see it. I think it's you talking in that first part of it. There's
Look at it.
beautiful pictures as well. A lifetime of
Absolutely.
greatness project. How do they get involved?
That's right. So we've made a nomination to the United Nations Environment Programme under their Champions of the Earth Awards. They're decided in November this year, and what we want to do is build a global movement to remind the United Nations that even though the Great Barrier Reef isn't the typical nominee, it is eligible. It is the world's largest living entity, the world's largest living organism, and it should be recognised for a lifetime of greatness. 9,000 years of contribution to education, conservation, and support for a global community. So be part of the movement. Jump onto the website, alifetimeofgreatness.com, share your support, and then tell your friends, I've nominated the Great Barrier Reef for a lifetime of greatness, and you should do that too. And people power will get a remarkable thing to happen. And from that momentum, we're going to inspire the next generation of action on climate change and coral reef restoration and rehabilitation.
Awesome. Just in time for Earth Day. I didn't realize it was the largest living organism. I love the way that sounds. One more time, how do people find you?
Just jump onto alifetimeofgreatness.com. Put your name against the thousands of others that are joining this cause, and let's see the Great Barrier Reef recognised as the first non-human to win a Lifetime Achievement Award.
Well, in the meantime, I'd like to give you and the Great Barrier Reef, Mark Olsen, Natalie Smith, Great Barrier Reef, Dr. Marissa's Beneficial Presence on the Planet Award.
You doctor, that's very cool.
Yes, I don't give that to all my guests, but definitely for you. Thanks so much for coming on and bringing awareness to this wonderful good news. I'm always trying to balance out bad news with good news. Thanks so much, Mark and Natalie. Have the best day ever.
Thank you.
And let's see if I can get back into the studio. I hope you enjoyed both of those interviews. The first one, if you're just wondering what the heck's going on, and take my advice, I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA AM 1050 FM 106.5, streaming everywhere. The station that leaves no listener behind, home to the Asian Oprah, #1 talk in the IE. Thank you very much. And on iHeartRadio, Spotify, and of course, my show Central, which is my YouTube TV channel. So free subscribe, give me the finger, this one, not the other one. I'm so delighted that this new series, Throwback Thursday, allows me to go back into my treasure chest of past 1,370. I think we're on 76. Yep. Past podcast shows, and definitely one of my favorites was the one you saw first, Greg O'Brien. He's still amazing. You can continue to, let's see, I'm going to put this one up. He's got a great website. His book on Pluto, Inside the Mind of Alzheimer's. Such an amazing person. Pulitzer Prize award-winning author, as well as, he was a journalist. His mind was his friend, and then he developed early onset Alzheimer's. And that interview definitely is one of my favorite in the almost 13 years that I have been on the air on camera. So I really want you to get his book. I want you to stay in touch with him. These are the important things that to me are way more important to talk about and to share than some of the things we cannot control that are negative, that are in the headlines today. So that's why I do this show, to bring people like Greg O'Brien to you, as well as that project, which is a super cool project, nominating the Great Barrier Reef as a United Nations Award, first I wouldn't say it is breathing. The Great Barrier Reef is breathing, the largest organism in the world. And I love the way that they can designate it as such. It's a living thing. So go and support also that worthy subject matter. That's what I do here. I try to balance out all the bad news and negative news. If it bleeds, it leads, which is all the headlines out there right now. You're not going to get them here. Instead, you're going to get information and shows and guests like Ray O'Brien, who are doing something to alleviate and bring some light to the darkness, dark places that are, just part of life. So I got teary even hearing it again, not just the first time when I was interviewing him. And if you're going to criticize me for the little hiccups in that broadcast, I made a choice. If you didn't hear it, I made a choice. I could either have done it on the phone with it clear, or, do it on Skype, because I wanted you to see him firsthand. And very, very, very grateful to Romina for providing the American Sign Language interpretation. So this particular interview is in my special series called Radio for Our Deaf Community. That was before I had, actually, that was when I began to have the show on camera, so it could do that. So hopefully you enjoyed both of those interviews. That's it for today's Take My Advice, I'm Not Using a Get Balance with Dr. Marissa Throwback Thursday series. And tomorrow is Straight Talk with myself and James Hawthorne. So you're not going to want to miss that. He actually gave me the topic that he wants to address, which is kind of cool. Let's see if I can find it quickly. Dating and friending. So I guess, I love when my co-host picks the topic, because I know that it's pretty close to them. Like all of a sudden someone's too successful to date or hang with you. Like they leveled up and they don't have time for you anymore. That's the topic for tomorrow's Straight Talk. We put the moose on the table, which is my Canadian version of talking about the elephant in the room. And yes, that's where I'm broadcasting live from. If you don't recognize the background, I am at my brother's house in Ontario, Canada. My mom, visiting my mom here, y'all know she has Alzheimer's. So, Parkinson's. And so I try to come back once a quarter. So that's why I'm here. But it's all about balance, peace in, peace out, world peace through inner peace. Now go and have the best day ever. Thanks for joining me today. We'll see you tomorrow.